Ooh, hello. Just want to make sure the mic works. Wow. Thank you so much, BAYCAT, Palu, the NBC teams, for giving me this opportunity to share a big idea and my stories. And I have to give a special shout out to Bill Strickland. I hope he gets to watch this. I love you, Bill. And just know it is your story that first inspired all of us to be here. And to be able to stand on the stage with the legends, Dizzy Gillespie, my heroes, Amal Jamal, Nancy Wilson, these inspirational speakers today. It really is an honor. So thank you. Thank you. All right, shall I tell you a story? You ready for a story? So we as humans, from the very beginning, always wanted to tell our story. There's something about the power of our story that preserves our identity, our culture. Stories make you laugh, they make you cry, they inspire us, like Bill's. They teach us. They scare us. They take us to far places. But what gets stories to be told and retold and retold and retold so that someday they become history? Or her story. Come on, girls, give it up. Well, from early cave drawings and paintings to the Gutenberg press being invented, really the formula of what stories become history have actually been the same. It's all about access and distribution. Think about it. Okay, you know what you're looking at right there? Just think about social media, early days. That's the first selfie. Come on, guys, think about that, right? So it's access to the cave, to the storyteller, to the artist, to the paint, to the paper, to the ink, to the equipment, to the press. It is access to these things, the people, the equipment, the technology, that then have helped to perpetuate these stories to become history. And you know what? The formula has kept going from moving pictures to motion pictures, right? Access. Okay, tell me you binge watch Star Wars. Come on, how many people here, right? Come on. From traditional media to social media. Okay, come on. How many of you have Facebook accounts? Admit it. I know. Twitter accounts? Raise your hands. Okay, people out there, a lot of people are raising their hands here, right? So the formula has actually been the same, and all the way through to TV. I just heard Netflix. Okay, I'm gonna date myself. This is the media that I grew up with. This is what media told me a perfect family was supposed to look like, right? Well, here's the Wang bunch. That's my mom. She's really my inspiration. Story is about her. And she did not have a housekeeper, and she was not a stay-at-home mom. She actually worked 3 jobs in one day for years. Yep, that's me on my dad's lap. Let's see. I never saw my dad kiss my mom on her cheek when he came home. Actually, he never really came home that much. We had a lot of problems, and especially in our Chinese culture, they're not things you're supposed to talk about. And our problems, they weren't solved in 30 minutes. Media is so powerful, and even as a young person at that young age, I knew that it was a force. It was something there inherently telling me that there was something wrong with my family. And therefore, there had to be something wrong with me. Media gave me a label that I was poor, and that being poor is not normal, nor is it something you should be. Gandhi is often quoted for saying, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And the emphasis is usually on the be. Be the change. Go be the change. But let me ask you something. What if you can't see the change? How can you then be the change? So media, as a kid, this is what I got to see that I could be. There weren't that many people that looked like me. Oh, I dug up a few. Do you know how many people ask me when I get introduced still to this day, do I do Kung Fu? Really? Other samples? Be the change you wish to see in the world. And when I wasn't in front of the TV, I was working with my mom. And this is what else I got to see every day. In the sweatshops, working side by side with her. This is what I was going to be. Media is so powerful. And let me paint a different picture, make it a little more modern. So imagine, quiet on the set. Imagine you're a kid growing up in the poorest neighborhood in San Francisco, Bayview Hunters Point. And just like the name says, Bayview, you've got a beautiful bay view. But actually, your home is in the middle of a toxic waste dump. Your front yard is the gas and electric company plant. Your backyard is a sewage treatment plant. And over there, a Superfund site. That's your playground. Oh, this is you, Iman Rodney. And like many of the kids in your neighborhood, you know, you're sick. You're often sick. You have asthma. You have health issues. Well, the good news is you get to skip school. And, well, the good news about that is you get to be in front of the TV. You get to watch TV. And you like the cartoons and the superheroes. But you know, the people that you see on TV that look like you, they're often violent, a drug dealer, in jail, or shot to death. Oh, and by the way, let me remind you, the Bay Area is the epicenter of technology, innovation, and art. And oh, but you didn't grow up with a computer at home. You're not the kid with the iPad in your hand at the age of 1. Oh, but now, yeah, there's some smartphones. You have a smartphone now. This is why I started BAYCAT, to empower youth and to transform communities one story at a time. And through the academy, this is Iman at the age of 13. We want young people to be the creators of media. And here he is at 13 producing his first TV show. Pretty cute, isn't he? Pop your collar. I have to learn my slang from these guys all the time. And there he is, now in his 20s. And the BAYCAT Academy has a studio. We have an internship program. And as he has graduated, going through 7 years of experience with us, calling us his home. As he graduated, he got to work for HBO Looking for 2 seasons in a row. And now, for the last 3 years, you ready? Okay, sorry, Pirates fans. Okay, I'm in the Bay. That's Blaine Palu. Here he is, 3 years in a row. He's been working for the San Francisco Giants, not selling popcorn, but doing broadcast and making stories. And yes, that's Buster Posey looking over his shoulder just this year because he's on the short list of the best videographers. And they sent him to spring training. And they asked me, how can we get 1,000 imams? And nope, as he texted me, nope, Mom, he calls me Mom sometimes. These are not my Emmys yet, but I do have to tell you, if it wasn't for BAYCAT, I wasn't ever going to be able to know that this could be my dream, that I could do this. And I hope that one day I could win one of these. BAYCAT helped Iman to see what he could be. Whew! Can we give it up to Iman? And what do we want him to be? We want him to be a creator, not just a consumer. We are at this place of urgency if we don't figure out how to interconnect these divides from education to technology to creative. Urgency. And we're at this point where, as a prior speaker talked about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, yeah, we need food, shelter, we need each other, we need sleep to be able to put ourselves up and take us through the pyramid to self-actualization. But I would argue that in today's world, as you all raised your hand about how you consume media, consistent access to technology and Wi-Fi should now be part of that. It has become a basic need. Think about it. How many apps are being used to help you find food, shelter? What if you don't have one? Or what if you don't have consistent technology? When we talk about this, we are at the point of this urgency because it has gone from the cave to the living room to our hands. And it's so much more powerful today. How many of you were bombarded with this image? Do you know who this is? Mario Woods, maybe not a name that you heard about as much on the East Coast. A young African-American male in front of a series of police officers in San Francisco, fatally shot in the Bay View, where Iman grew up and still lives. Rodney King, Trayvon Martin. Why are these names famous? Why do you know them? Why do they kind of ring a bell? What stories do we make into history? And I ask you, how come you don't know the name of Iman Rodney? And how come you don't know the name of Jamal Edwards? Well, let me introduce you to him. When he made a documentary short just last year, he's 12 years old, and you don't tell a 12-year-old that he's 12 years old anymore, because now he's 13. So, but just last year, he made a film. It just so happens 3 weeks before the fatal shooting of Mario Woods. And he, just out of his curiosity, wanted to talk to the chief of police about racial and implicit bias. What were you doing when you were that age? So I'm about to show you a clip. And as you watch this, I want you to see how you identify with it. And maybe take a guess how the chief would react to it.
It was one day, I think it was at nighttime, me and my cousin, we were just going to the movies. He had a black hoodie on. And so, there was this police officer. He stopped my cousin and told him to get on the wall, put his hands up on the wall. And so even my cousin could see it in my eyes. I was a little terrified. And so the police officer still searched him and he found nothing. My cousin, when he was taking me to the movies, he wasn't doing anything wrong.
What's your reaction? How do you think the chief reacted? Well, when I talked to him and he saw this, he said, every police officer should see this short film because it is the why racial and implicit bias training matters. Okay, empathy. Well, then he put his words into action. And just this year, every police officer in San Francisco has seen Jamal Edwards' film. And not only that, it is now being used as part of the training and is required training for every new police officer, new cadet going through the academy to learn why racial and implicit bias is important. Urgency, if I haven't stirred your pot in that, do you know where this is going? Is this play or is this reality? Let me show you a statistic. Stanford University just conducted a study with Sesame Street and Oculus. When children are exposed to virtual experiences, a week later, 50% of them remember the event as real. Let that sink in. Now, through the latest technology of virtual reality, if you show a kid this, a week later, they're gonna believe they were there. All right, the joke is, now you could go, hey honey, we could really, send our kid to Disneyland, wink, wink, right? Well, what if you could be Jamal Edwards and his cousin for that few minutes when they were put against the wall, just going to see a movie? What if you could be Mario Woods when he was against that wall, surrounded by officers? What if you could be the one that pulls the trigger and causes death, and it no longer just feels like a video game? Do you see the urgency of where this is going? And okay, maybe none of you own Oculuses. How many of you do, by the way? Okay, not many hands. West Coast, pay attention to that. East Coast don't have it yet. All right? Okay, so maybe it's not the urgency of virtual reality, but guess what? This media exists today, and we are the consumers, and we no longer can just blame the media because we are the media. We are the mass distributors. From the cave to the living room to a swipe. That is our power. And I ask you, if we want to be the change you wish to see in the world, as we close this out, I want to show you another clip, and I ask you the question, can this empathy be created today and even 2D? Is that urgency there?
Girls have to be skinny, they have to wear makeup, have to have long hair.
Being half naked all the time.
Basically used like sex toys.
You don't have to be like that.
Females are a very important part in society and they shouldn't be treated as if they're just an object.
I would prefer to hear like women being educated. Girls are going to the moon or
Being respected.
We are powerful and we are smart.
Yes, we are powerful and we are smart. Did you feel that? Did you feel that just because you might have a daughter or because you're a woman? What is it about watching this media and your experiences that create this empathy and to create this kind of change? We cannot underestimate the power that we have in our fingertips to shape our world based on the stories that we have. We are the consumers and the mass distributors. And who are we empowering to be the creators? Had to do this. Media force. It is powerful. Okay, Darth. It is powerful. Is he on that side? It is powerful. It is all around us. It surrounds us. It comes through us, and we feel it. And as we look at this, I believe that if we can empower our youth and diverse storytellers to be the creators, if we can treat technology as a basic need, and if we can critically think and boldly act, if you can critically think and boldly act as responsible consumers and distributors of mass media, to inspire empathy, to amplify empathy, then I do believe we can take this force and change it for good. And as I close, I just want to say my small story about the lovely lady, my mom, who no longer is with us, and the Wang bunch, who is no longer with us. Their story continues through the BAYCAT bunch. And as my story empowers them to create their stories teach us which stories should be remembered for history. Thank you.